Hi, friends. We're Rebecca and Brad. Today we're going to visit a little bit about stinginess, generosity, and in particular, loving kindness and loving care and the expression of that love. How, if we withhold it, what happens in our closest relationships, and if we give it plentifully, how does that affect each other? So we're Rebecca and Brad. We've been married for 18 years and we've decided to break things up.
Join us for some honest conversations about being real in the small and the big moments so we can all create great relationships together. So, what we wanted to talk about, like she said, is loving care and the impact that is on your relationship. And the reason that this is a big topic for us, or, I'll speak for me right now, is that what I've discovered, in this journey we've been going on together that we've been sharing some with you guys is that based on basically, the way I was raised and my life up until now, I never really learned, so I never really practiced, so I never really gained the muscle of expressing my care in a loving way to the people that I'm in relationship with, my partner, my children, my friends, so things like that maybe seem normal to other people, like, saying loving words, giving acknowledgement, plenty of hugs and physical touch, gifts, those kind of things have never been part of my life up until now. It's just like I didn't get that. I didn't experience it. I wasn't given the example of that very much in my life, and I just didn't learn it. So I never really did it, and it was part of being, like she said, a stinginess. But it was also basically an unconscious stinginess in a lot of ways. And so through the journey we've been on of developing a relationship more as real people, really becoming friends, it became apparent that that was a missing piece, like a sore spot for her, a sore spot for the kids, even if they didn't know, because I'm the only dad relationship they've had. But it wasn't like a fulfilling thing. It was causing for this distance between me and what I feel, and the people who I feel that towards, and their experience of me.
And I can pipe in a minute here and say that I think what a lot of times can happen, and what happened with me, is kind of feeling like, oh, I'm thirsty for him to appreciate me or consider me or touch me, and kind of feeling like I'm never having enough, which played into my own childhood, equations of not being enough. And so it's like always trying to kind of perform better to be loved and appreciated. And I could say that happens with the kids as well. That, that's sort of the equation, is they're not quite enough and they don't understand it. It's an unconscious thing, but they're sort of always striving to get approval or even negative attention.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so then, like any of us, when we're after something, which in my case, in our case, is developing this deeper friendship and deeper relationship, and you find there's something that's like blocking that, which in this case was this, what I was just describing, like I'm confronted with a choice, like what do I do about that? So I have to identify the remedy. And so in my case, what I identified, or what I was helped identify, was that I just identified it as two words: love and care. And so it was something that I have no, or very small, like muscle for. Like an analogy being, like if you wanted to jump higher, you'd have to figure out what the exercises are that strengthen the muscles that make you jump, and then you got to start doing them on a regular basis. So for me, loving care was like that exercise. And so I use like digital reminders a lot, like my phone, computer, that kind of stuff. So I put in loving care at a bunch of different times throughout the day on repeat every day. So throughout the day, little reminders pop up: loving care, loving care, loving care. And so it has helped me stay in the memory of, this is something that I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to express my loving care that I have for these people that are, my partner, my children, my friends. But it helps, build that muscle of the memory of doing that. And so I've been enacting acts of loving care over this period of time. And so, like, for example, with the kids at bedtime, before all of this, I would kind of let them be the lead of whether we did like a full, bedtime hug and kiss and good night or not, because that whatever. I don't want to speak for them, but probably because it was so like that kind of attention for me has been like few and far between. There were probably days that they didn't feel comfortable coming at me for that or whatever the case may be. And so there was maybe three nights out of a week that would get missed with one of them, maybe three other nights with the others. And so when I started doing this practice of loving care, that was one place that I was like, I'm going to make sure that no matter what, even if I'm busy when they're getting to bed and they're already in bed and the light's already out, I'm going to go in there and make sure we have that moment at bedtime of like hug, connecting, kiss, and so forth. And one thing I've noticed since I've been doing that is that like physical affection, like hugs and like sitting on laps or snuggling or that type of stuff with the kids has become more frequent, like with them initiating it too. It's like my thought is that they like there's a more of an experience of that being a plentiful thing for them, that dad is really here or really there, and so they come forward, where before they probably would have been hesitant because they weren't getting that from me, so they didn't know that was something that was okay or safe to do with me. And then the same with Rebecca, with you, like for example, when you were last week going to driving up to Seattle for a sleep study, I had the thought like, oh, she's going to do this thing. It's a big experience. And so I called while you were on the drive, and just to tell you that I love you and that I hope that the sleep study goes well.
Yeah.
And these may seem like simple, small things if you're somebody who has this in your tool bag already. But for me, that was a tool that was like missing, or a tiny little tool that I had to like get it to be a more effective thing. And so if loving care, if you're like me, this is I really encourage you to like look at that and put this into practice in a way that works, whether it's sticking little sticky notes up around your house or putting it on your phone like me throughout the day. And if not, if that's like easy for you, that's like one you got down, you could examine what are some other things potentially like that, or that are missed pieces for you or blank spots for you that if they were more filled out would make for a more satisfying life and relationship, and start putting those into practice on a regular basis. Right. And so alrighty, so I wanted to just tell you about these diagrams that I made about the topics from our video. And this first one is just showing how I learned to be and how I used to operate, and I'm learning to to go beyond and express more. So in this picture, you see me there with my heart like in this box, and I'm not expressing outwardly my love or care to the people around me, my partner, my kids, my friends and family. And so it's like everything is this like insulated world. The walls are around me and the arrows are pointing in, because it's like I'm not putting that out there in the world. And so around me are my family and loved ones, and they don't know if they're loved by me, and they don't know if I value them because I'm not giving those direct inputs of expressing my love and my care. And so in the other diagram, the new way of being, that's me expressing outwardly, and you see it like kind of my heart gleaming there. And what ends up happening is, to my friends and family around me, those people, is they experience love and they experience being valued for who they are, and then that gets reflected back to me too. So it's obviously a much happier world to live in, this new world. So that's what I'm really doing with this practice, and we'll keep you updated how it's all going. And so make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell button so you get all our notifications for when we release new videos. Like I can speculate what's going on with the kids, but you are right here. So
I can say, that for me, when I'm going to my sleep study and you call in, I feel like I'm important to you. And intellectually, I understand that I'm important to you. But having that check-in, that you took your time and attention to say, hey, I hope it goes well and I'm thinking of you, it makes me feel like I'm valued. And so when I think of, you're talking about the kids, they feel, when you say goodnight to them, they feel like they're important to you, and that helps build their confidence body, so that I think when they want something else, they have more trust and like understanding of, oh, I'm an important person, I have value here. So if I go and I want to have a tickle fight, maybe dad will do that with me. And that's, I think, also a feeling that I am starting to experience more of, is like, oh, I want to share some intimacy with him, and I have more of a confidence that you're going to be reciprocal, instead of like feeling like I could get rejected, and then I'm not quite secure enough in my value with you that I want to risk that. So it definitely opens up more of a like a free breath that I can like jump in and be more generous, because I don't have that same sort of like, gotta grab after all my love and attention.
Right. There's
and
enough.
yeah, so it really plays into, and spills over to my relationship with the kids. They're getting love from him, they're getting love from me. I don't have to do everything and be all for them, that I could take a moment and take an extra long shower, or something, like not come out at a different moment where I felt like I was always on duty or something. I could kind of have more balance in myself and my realness, because my training was always to just respond so quickly to everyone's needs and forget about my own. So this helps me to be less prone to overdo and then attack out of that like urgency and that sense of there never being enough. So
right. Well, because you're getting a message
yeah,
that you're valuable just for who you are.
yeah,
And same with the kids, or same with anybody who
right,
gets that from the people they care about, that get that, add those acknowledgments of that love and care. I mean,
totally,
that's the message, right? You have value just as you, not for
totally,
anything you do or perform. And so, yeah, I mean, it makes sense what you're saying, for sure.
yeah. It's powerful stuff. I mean, we learn what we do as kids, and it's like often
Right.
like just so insufficient for like having a sense of well-being and a happy and successful life. So we got to fill in these,
Right.
notice these areas where we're deficient, or don't feel strong enough to have the life we're wanting, and fill in
Right.
for ourselves.
Yeah, and I mean, I think this is a great example too of just like that step-by-stepness of it, that it's really, it wasn't like I had this big realization that I wasn't, doing that. I had this big gap in terms of that expression of my care, and then suddenly it was there, because that's just not how it works. I have to be okay with and continue to keep moving forward, and upping the bar, and know that it's like building a muscle, and that every time I practice, it gets easier and stronger to do it. And so so
Right.
yeah, I mean, I think again, it's like, look around in your own life, in your own relationship, and what is it, where are these missing pieces, and don't look at it as like oh no, I'm a bad person because I don't do this, because I mean, I've gone through that with this piece before.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like this is the first time in my life that someone's like let me know that they weren't getting enough of that from me, but it's like I finally was wise enough to start doing something to make a difference. And so, where are those areas in your life? I mean, sure, you've heard it, you've experienced it, you maybe have been told it by your partners or whoever, and what can you do? What are those daily practices, those exercises to keep you in the memory of who you really want to be and how you really want to express it in the world?
Yeah.
And just start doing them. And comment below. Let's we can start a conversation about, like, what are your things and what is your practice, and how's that working for you.
Yeah, and sometimes like, what is it my partner keeps asking me for? You can't just necessarily take it on because they keep asking you for it, but to consider, to really take it in deeply, and feel and kind of trust your own organic flow with it. Then at some point it is like, oh, I do want to make a change in that, or oh, I really get what she's saying. What if I did try it the other way? Or I get what he's saying. Like, can I let that in? and then be willing to try things differently, and so maybe you have some of those experiences to share with us. It's really valuable when we can make our relationships stronger and more aware and free. And that's
Totally.
our goal here. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. Well, don't forget, in fact, remember to hit the subscribe button, the little bell notification, hit like on the video, and keep coming back for more, because we'll just keep sharing what we're up to and what's really going on, and how we're building a life of love and of plenty.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Bye
I'll
now.
see ya. Bye.